Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at the next promo character coming to RTS, and it is going to be Mythic Dr Stevens. Visually on the right hand side he is looking much more doctory than I think a lot of his other iterations have seen. He's got a lot more going on. I think the most doctory version we had was the 6-star Dr Stevens that everyone loved to hate. Originally at least, was the AP Dr Stevens. He looks quite a lot like that. He has got like body armor on now, and he has got the most, I don't know, pimped out medical bag I've ever seen in my entire life. That you just wouldn't want to get hit by that. On the left hand side he's looking much more, you know, approachable. He's not looking too bad. Just got his hand out, wanting to shake your hand. He's looking just absolutely fine. It is worth noting when it comes to Dr Stevens' kit, I have actually been involved in part of the design myself, and I will be talking about that when we go over that part of his kit later on in the video. First off, we're going to look at his stats. As a tier 5 level 600 gold mythic, he has got 11,531 attack, 14,053 defense, and 15,242 HP. He is a fast character. He is considered a medic, a mythic character of course, and he is a member of Woodbury. So there is multiple members of Woodbury now. I believe it's Governor, Alice, and now Dr Stevens. I think that's all that's there so far. But let's have a look at the rest of Dr Stevens' kit. First off, we'll look at his adrenaline rush, and it is called Doctor in the House. It is a 66 AP cost rush. Heal 3 teammates by 25% of their max HP for 3 turns. Revive 1 teammate with 30% of their max HP. So an extremely basic rush. To me, this just spells out that he's going to be more of a defense team character, at least when it comes to the adrenaline rush. Healing 3 characters for 25% of their max HP for 3 turns is obviously really nice. It also stacks with itself. So for instance, if he was to rush again really quickly based on being focused or in the future potentially commanded, that would, you know, go up to 50% on what if it landed on the same characters again. It isn't huge amounts per turn, but over the course of the entire fight, obviously, that's going to mount up to huge amounts of HP there. The revive is always nice. A 30% revive is pretty straightforward, but it's always going to be handy on a defense team. Okay, so we're attacking a team with Dr Stevens on it. He is about to rush. I'm going to do some damage, and I'm going to focus on doing some damage against Holly. No, actually, I'll do it against Maggie here. When he rushes, he will revive the character that we managed to down, and he should heal the other characters that have low HP. And we're actually going to down 2 characters by the looks of things. So one of these characters will get revived, and then 3 of the characters will all get heals, and that would be... Oh, was it a double revive? No, actually, Holly got in a revive as well. So definitely can get some multi-revives in here. They're both at 30% HP or around that by the looks of things. But you can see that Dr Stevens, Erica, and Holly all have 25% heal for the next 2 turns. So if we do a bit more damage to some of these characters, you will of course see them get some more HP on this next turn. They're going to get healed anyway because of Holly's rush going off, but this is what happens when you stack medics. All the heals stack. They all stack. And everyone's full HP. Everybody's full HP. Pretty straightforward when it comes to Dr. Stevens' rush here. Now, just like I mentioned in my previous video about Alice, revived characters do not revive with max AP anymore, but there is potential for them to obviously gain AP from other characters hitting crits. For instance, Glenn can give them AP and they could potentially get their rush at that point, or in the future if a command comes out they can still get commanded. When we look at the upgrades for Dr. Stevens' rush, at tier 3 he gets another turn of healing, at tier 4 he gets another healing target, and at tier 5 this is the 2nd gold mythic required for the 3rd turn of healing and a 10% bonus on the revived HP. So instead of it being 20% max HP, it'll be 30% max HP. This is going to make quite a bit of difference. It's not going to be absolutely devastating for Dr. Stevens, but if you do want to use him on a defense team, he needs those stats. And as a tier 5, that's where he's going to get a lot of them. Next up, we'll check out the signature move, and it is called Rejuvenating Attack. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 2, cooldown of 0, Number of uses 999. Attack an enemy for 120% damage. Heal one teammate by 10% of their max HP. So the initial cooldown just means that he will do it on his second turn. First turn basic attack, turn 2 signature move, turn 3 rush is kind of like the normal sequence. He will need an AP weapon on attack if you want him to get that natural turn 3 rush the first time round. However, because he starts doing his signature move every single time after that, he will not need AP again. You know, his signature moves will not take advantage of AP on attack on his weapon. So this is where it's going to be debatable for you. Do you want him to have AP on attack for that first rush? Or do you want to use it as a more of a long-term, stat-heavy, and so he's got a bit more survivability, and once the signature move starts going round because of this cooldown of 0, and it'll be easy enough to get his rush on a defense team. It's up to you there. Obviously, quite a big debate on that one. Attack an enemy for 120% damage is nice, even if it gets blocked by like a Guardian Shield or something. I think on the previous example that I showed you, it did actually get blocked by a Guardian Shield when I was getting him his AP, and he will just still gain AP. The heal one teammate for 10% of their max HP is just a nice little bonus, but because this has a 0 turn cooldown, every turn that he's not going to be rushing after the 3rd turn, he'll do his signature move and just heal a random teammate, generally the lowest HP teammate, for 10% of their max HP. Okay, so this is just to show you how it works basically. We are on turn 2. I've done a little bit of damage to this Zeke already. So what should happen is he should use his signature move, probably against Alice, and Zeke should get healed. There we go. You see Zeke get healed by 1,800. We also see the 182 on top because he is a medic, kind of how it's going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue. He'll do his rush, which would normally pick up somebody. You see lots of heals coming in here. It's actually going to be reasonably hard to see if this is going to be working or not. Let's see if we can see. He's going to do his signature move again, but he would be healing, but obviously max HP on Ezekiel already. He should do it again. So it's just going to be over and over and over again. So every single time we're going to see it, and then the only time it would break out of him doing his signature move is when he just has his rush, which he just did again. So his sequence will be basic attack, signature move, rush, signature move, rush, signature move, rush. And it'll just go on. So the biggest debate you've got here, pretty much, if you're going to get this guy on your defense team, is AP on attack or not. I'm going to leave that down to you guys. I probably wouldn't myself, just so I could give him impenetrable defense and fast healing and just give him a full stat weapon. And after that first sort of sequence, if he gets attacked, he's going to get his natural rush turn 3. If he doesn't, then he's just going to just eventually be fine once the ball gets rolling with his signature move, because it will just constantly go off. I think that's the kind of position you want to get in. It's just whether right now will fights last that long. Defense teams are getting more powerful. You know, will they last that long initially? It's hard to know. It is only got one required upgrade, and that's at tier 2, which will be obviously easy to get whether you get 1 or 2 of this character. It reduces the starting cooldown by 1 and the cooldown itself by 1. The fact that the number of uses is so high, obviously you're not really going to get through this in a raid. You know, you'd be lucky to get through this in something like SR. And this character is going to be really useful in SR because you'll just be doing this constantly, just healing everybody up as you're going through SR. A nice little bonus on top. I know a lot of people look at these characters for raid, but we remember back to the S-Class era, while someone like Arav was really good for raids, in SR he was just amazing because of those heals. But let's see what Dr. Stevens' Mythic Abilities are going to do to enhance his current kit. Dr. Stevens' Mythic Abilities, of course, he's going to have that Spirit. 10% of all healing performed also granted as bonus HP because he is a medic. He has got one called Reinforce Weaknesses. Incoming strong trait damage against this character has its multiplier reduced by 20%. That means, obviously, that he's effectively got a defense versus strong inbuilt in his kit, and this probably would stack with his combat mods. I would assume so, because otherwise, you know, you can get a reduction that's higher than this already. So I would assume that would stack. I think that's otherwise it's probably not as good, because you most likely would have defense versus strong. Although you could potentially use defense versus strong in this passives and then have like defense versus tough in his combat mods, because there are a lot of heavy hitting tough characters already in the Mythic era. He has got base impair resistance at 40%. Now, like I said in my Alice video, I was informed that resistances do not stack with mods, but it will obviously just be a base. So for instance, you could go with stun resist and you're just going to get 40% impair resist on the side. His last one is Glorious Resurrection. When revived, 20% chance to gain 100% AP. It is worth noting this is a revive from any source, no matter what source it is, be it from another character reviving him or potentially maybe some part of his kit that exists. So I would love to get you some footage of Glorious Resurrection, and I have tried, but unfortunately I couldn't manage to get it. I must have hit about 50 revives, and at 20% chance it didn't happen once, when realistically it should have happened like 10 times in that. So I just got either really unlucky or there's something up with my Dr. Stevens that I've been given. But that's how it's meant to work. When he gets revived, he's meant to get 100% AP straight away, and he potentially will just rush instantly and then potentially pick up characters that turn. That's not how it's meant to work in the Conquest era. When revives come in, they're not meant to get 100% AP anymore. You're not meant to be able to sit at the same AP that you were taken out at. Whereas Dr. Stevens could be 100% AP when he was impaired when he was taken out and he had 0 AP. He'll be able to just get fully maxed AP instantly and potentially rush straight away. Now we'll look at the tiers he has to get these upgrades on these passive abilities. Tier 1 will give him reinforced weaknesses. Tier 2 will be the spirit, so that'll be the medic upgrade. Tier 3 will be the impair resistance, and tier 4 will be the glorious resurrection. So if you do not get 2 Dr. Stevens, you can still get that glorious resurrection with the 100% AP bonus. But like I've already said multiple times in this video and previous videos, if you want to have a character on a defense team, you're going to need to give them every single little percentage. And the difference between a tier 4 and a tier 5 gold mythic on a defense team is massive amounts of stats. So you're going to want a tier 5 realistically on your defense team. So Dr. Stevens, of course, has a specialist skill, which I know a lot of you have seen before. It is called Halo. Whenever this specialist is taken out in combat, they revive at 50% of their max HP at the start of their next turn. You've seen this in the Conquest game mode. This is extremely powerful, and as I did say at the beginning of the video, I did have a hand in part of Dr. Stevens' design. About a year ago, maybe a year and 2 or 3 months ago, I came up with the Halo idea in a meeting I was having with one of the character designers, the head of character design actually, and I just said about an idea I had when it comes to, I called it Halo at the time, and it was actually more like a Guardian Shields kind of skill where you would hit a crit and the lowest HP character on your team would get Halo, and it would basically protect them from being focused on the next turn, and you'd have to switch your focus. That was, in my mind, could be kind of a cool idea, but it is going to be a self-revive in this case. We have seen this already with Ivanova, although her passive is not 100% at a time. This is always going to happen for Dr. Stevens, but it is worth noting it will only ever happen once per fight. It can't proc every single time he's taken down. It will only be the first time he's taken down, and if other teammates are still alive. If you take him out with a decap, this does not work. So here we'll just take him out on turn 1. We're going to hard focus him. He has not got a weapon attached to him, so it should be quite an easy takedown. We've got weapons on my team, and we will see. We'll see. There we go. That's Halo. You've seen it on Conquest game mode. He will revive with 50% of his HP on the next turn. However, if I was to manage to take out the last remaining character here in Holly before the next turn of the defense actually happens, it will not work. But I'm going to defend, and you'll see he gets revived. He's at 50% of his max HP. He does a basic attack straight away. Now he's at 100% AP. Now because of those passives, he could potentially just instantly be at 100% AP. Or if there was a command on the defense team in the future, even if he didn't get that 100% AP, he could just be like commanded right now to rush. So Halo obviously is a very powerful specialist skill indeed. It's going to be extremely frustrating just because you either have to leave this guy till last, take him out twice, or take someone in that can decap him, like let's say Silver Mythic Axel. There are some things in the game already to deal with that, so obviously that's kind of good that he's coming in still powerful, but there's obviously some balance in here. Now the Conquest game mode versions of Dr. Stevens are massively buffed up in terms of their stats. It's going to be quite hard to get those sort of stats right away. Those are like, for at least the ones I've been facing, level 1100. The most heavy levels I've been facing on defense teams so far are in the 800s. So the difference on stats is going to be quite big there. Now Dr. Stevens does have an attached weapon. It is an extremely interesting looking weapon, to say the least. It is a 4-star weapon. It looks like it's a 5-star weapon here, but I had to 5-star it to put a weapon in his hands just to test him out. Dr. Stevens Binding Battle Medkit. It has got 25% base HP, a medium bonus to AP when taking damage, and then random healing when being attacked, a better chance to heal one other team member 20% of their max HP. I don't think this weapon obviously has great stats on it. The best sort of weapon you are going to want to get on this character is going to have impenetrable defense if you want to put him on your defense team. He is a fast character. You can build that weapon for him. Now again, do you want to go for defense, HP, impenetrable defense, fast healing? Or do you want to go for AP on here? You could potentially replace fast healing with AP, or one of the two stats. It is the debate. I think there's going to be the debate for this character on how you're going to build him. I personally would just go with HP, defense, impenetrable defense, and fast healing. It just makes the biggest sense for me in terms of just making him as tanky as possible and hoping that the fight lasts more than 3 turns. But that is Mythic Dr. Stevens, and he is going to be an extremely powerful character on defense teams. I don't think he has much usage at all on attack, if I'm honest. I mean, I guess you could have him as that support character on your attack team, just picking characters up constantly. If he does get focused and taken out, he's going to have Halo to just pick himself back up, so it won't be too terrible. He can hold a fast healing weapon, you know, just to get the hills going. So there could be maybe some small upsides if you want to use a very offensive team otherwise. But most of the time, he's going to be that defense team character. Halo's going to take a bit of getting used to. I know we've sort of seen it a little bit on the Conquest game modes, but it's going to be much harder in raids in terms of, like, you're going to see this guy more regularly. It's going to have some much better, like, team synergy because people are going to come up with ideas of how he can be used. And comboed with other revives, there is the dangerous potential that he could bring back the daisy chains of revives that effectively a lot of people would have thought would have been eliminated with the Conquest update. But do give me your thoughts in the comments down below, and do hit that like button if you enjoyed this video or found it informative. That is going to be the end of my video, guys. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.